Well, hello everyone, welcome back. Good morning to you all. I hope you're all doing great. In today's episode, we'll be talking a little bit about strawberry growing in containers. We've got a little bit of a project here at the school that we just completed. So we grow a lot in ground, as you can see, from the fruit trees all the way to the vegetables here in the garden. We do a lot in ground, but sometimes you run out of space, right? In ground, a lot of ours grow at home, and we have limited space. So today we're going to focus on taking advantage of the small space that we do have. Even if it's all concrete and you can't really dig into that concrete, you go in containers. And so that's what we are going to do in this back patio. We have a little area behind our classroom right next to our greenhouse where it's all cement and concrete. It's fenced in a little bit, and so I'm going to show you kind of how we got to grow strawberries in the middle of the city here and what that looks like, all in containers, actually all vertically. And so we're kind of try to utilize vertical space as well in today's garden. And so let's take a look. All right, so as I mentioned, we have a ton of concrete and asphalt out here. There's always, never a shortage of that in the city. This is right on the back patio of my classroom. Our door opens up to right here. Like I said, we really couldn't remove the concrete to plant anything, so we're gonna grow up vertically. So strawberries are a fantastic berry to grow. We actually chose to grow some ever-bearing varieties just because for us, that's gonna produce a nice steady stream of strawberries throughout the growing season. Whereas if you have like a June-bearing variety, you might, you're really gonna get one big push for a month or so, and then it's kind of dwindles a little bit. So these ones we have the Albion and I think the Eversweet as well. And so I'm really excited for those. We've had a lot of luck with the Albion variety in the past. They are big producers for us and are very delicious. The Eversweet one up here, we have one row of it. That's new to me, so I'm really looking forward to growing those. So here, I wanna show you what we built. And so we had this project in the past, but we had some problems out here in the patio. The patio had big chunks missing out of the concrete, tons of cracks. And a few of our towers had gotten destroyed by some wonderful neighborhood folks. But we've rebuilt them and redesigned them. And so as you can see, I'm gonna give you a little closer look at what we've done. But what's great about this is it utilizes this space. We have 2 rows, so it's gonna be really easy for us to harvest. We wanna not gonna be bending down all the time, or hopefully not pulling as many weeds in this kind of situation here. I'm gonna show you just how we did it, and maybe some of the drawbacks and some of the benefits of this kind of system. So let's take a closer look. All right, so first things first, we have 2 major rows, each one with 2 levels in it. And so what's great for us is this allows us to harvest, quite easily. Now, one of the drawbacks with this is that the containers are, they're just about as small as you'd ever want to go for one little strawberry plant, because at the end of the season, these berry plants are gonna occupy this whole space and fill in pretty good. So any smaller than this, you might run into problems. But what's nice is that strawberries are a pretty shallow rooted plant to begin with. So if we can give them enough water and enough nutrition, and what's nice is they do have a bit of space, they're gonna get definitely enough sunlight. We gotta just keep the aphids and whitefly off them. After a few years, we probably will pull these individuals out and then just replace them with fresh runners or fresh starts, because after about 2 to 3 seasons, these ones will kind of push themselves out. But these ones are all young and fresh, so they're all gonna be good producers for us. You can see our succulent shed in the background. But what's great about this, you can see the irrigation system that we've installed. It's a drip system. We have it all on a solar timer. We can turn it on manually or just set it up to come on several times a day in short bursts. We're kind of working on that right now as far as the timing, because it's pretty cold right now, so we've been hand watering a lot. But we've tested the system and it's working pretty darn well so far. We've had a few emitters that just had small little clogs in them, so we've been replacing those and unclogging them. But other than that, it's actually working really well. These ones are all gonna be organic fertilizer. You can see some of it up there right now. I've added, last week had a student add some. So we've done both granule, tomato vegetable food, EB stone, and we've also done a little jazzing with some fish emulsion as well, just to kind of get them going. But we'll give them, as they get larger and a little more bountiful, we'll probably have to give them a little more nutrition as the season goes on. We're definitely keeping them lightly moist. We added a little bark to the top just to kind of help protect some of that soil and from the wind and from any heavy rains we might get in March. But it's also just to maybe that way any seeds that kind of want to find their way in there flying around in the air, we want to just reduce that. And so for us, and it kind of helps insulate the roots as well. But so it does a few things, but that's why we did that. So a little micro bark, you know, it's a little experiment. We'll see. Like I said, we want to protect that soil, and a little micro bark on top, you know, doesn't hurt. So they're doing really good. You can see we've added 2 emitters. I think these are 1 gallon per hour. And so like I said, we only even have to have them come on in short 3 to 5 minute bursts, maybe several times. I mean, we can add additional periods when it comes on, so it come on, you know, once a day, twice a day, you know, up to I think up to like 4 or 5 times a day on the system that we have. And so it's gonna be really cool to play with. Right now they're all doing really well. They're really young, so they're just now starting to push out. What we've been doing is, I'd recommend this, you do this too. Some of your younger plants are gonna start pushing out new growth, new leaves. That's what you want. But if you see blossoms form, like this one right here, I'm just gonna either just nip that out without pulling too hard, or you can just cut it. But that's a little blossom, and so I don't want this plant putting a lot of energy into, you know, producing fruit right now. I want it to put more energy into its root system, more energy into putting out new shoots and leaves, and so that's what we're all about. But you can see, like I said, we've kind of got, you know, 2 little emitters on there, and the drip goes right to it. It's pretty simple for us. I cannot wait to just come back out and harvest. We used a nice little potting mix. I even actually drilled fresh holes into these containers a little bit to just kind of aid in the drainage. Now, we've had issues with ants in the past bringing in aphid and other little bad bugs into our strawberries. So what we've done to mitigate that is, you can see around every single post that leads upwards, we actually have some tanglefoot. So you can see right there, thankfully I got Mr. A here, a good teammate of mine. He put this all around each one, and that's just a great way to kind of slow down the advance of ants that are going to come up through here. So anywhere where there's a tube or anything reaching upwards from the ground up to here, we've actually got the tanglefoot on there covering it all. So that's actually a really good way, because the best way to deal with the bug is to not get him in the first place, right? So that, for us, that's gonna be a good start, and then we'll just keep an eye out. See, here's another example of a runner, right? And so I'm just gonna nip that in the bud right there and just pinch it right off, because I want that plant not running. I want it putting effort into growing, grow, more roots and more shoots. Other than fertilizing, we use some Sure Start. We even added up with some fish emulsion and some tomato vegetable food. All these pots actually we've had for several years. So you notice a lot of them have like a we actually put a couple different couple coats, maybe 2 to 3 coats of fresh paint on there, just to protect the plastic. When we got them, they kind of come in a kind of a dullish gray, and like I said, they've been out here for a few seasons, and they hook into these little clips. It's actually pretty cool. So if we need to pull these plants out at all and replace them or work on them, what we've done is these all got planted over on a little table. Let me see if I can pull it off one-handed. And so these can come out, you can go deal with them, replant it, whatever, and then it just snaps back into this bracket, which is fantastic. We got these at Green Acres a long time ago. This was all paid for by a grant from the Sacramento Perennial Plant Club. So shout out to them. They're a wonderful group of folks out there who just love plants. That was the Saul Weisman grant, so I got to give, and that paid for that whole shed garden as well, which is fantastic. So that's a whole nother video, but it's looking really good right now, and we're gonna have some fun out there doing some fertilizing and helping out that wall a little bit and some clipping. But anywho, back to the strawberries. So they love full sun, well-drained soil. They need to be, they're heavy feeders because they grow, and once they start growing and producing a ton of fruit and stuff, they're really gonna appreciate being fed properly with a steady flow of nutrition. One of the limiting factors, like I said, we have these small containers, is that they're not going to be in ground. So having them in these smaller containers, they're really going to require that we just give them a steady flow of nutrition, because they're going to have it, and then they're going to utilize it, and then it'll be gone. So we got to they're just like us. They want to feed, so they're going to want calcium, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, everything else in between, all your macro and micronutrients. They're just heavy feeders, especially as the season gets cranking along. So if you want to minimize how many bugs you have and all that, also helps just to have a healthy plant. If they're watered properly and they're fed, they're going to be a little more resilient to the bugs. But we'll keep an eye on that as well, because we do have some neem oil, some mineral oil, some insecticidal soaps. We've got spinosad to utilize, so we're absolutely going to fertilize and take care of any bugs or with organic methods the best that we can. So this is early days. We're just end of February right now. We just had a really late season, kind of like a little cold burst. Not cold enough to really hurt these plants too much, although I saw a little bit of damage on some of them, but not much. Not enough to worry about. Didn't even cover them. And so they're actually doing great. Now I think the weather already, it's early morning and I can feel the sun on my body. It feels good. I can just feel it. So that the sun is heating up and it's time to get back to work and get on some other projects. But and we'll do an update on this one because it's gonna be sweet, but you can just see, it's basically this, oop, knocked my tripod over. It's gonna be this wonderful little school strawberry garden where our students can get out there and come out here and have a reason to show up, because when this starts producing strawberries, we're gonna have an abundance. I think there's 118 pots up here, just shy of 120. And so there's plenty of individual plants. So hopefully they produce a bit, but you can see it's just like any other parking lot. But you know what, but we've grown up. So we actually we patched up all the concrete. We put down some black landscape fabric just to make it extra clean and easy to blow. We connected all the poles. Like I said, we actually updated this and did it a little bit different. In the past we had the poles all individual, but now they're all hooked together. I think I like it this way. It looks a little more structured, and I think it's going to be a little stronger for us. But I'm really excited for it. I hope you are too. We will come back to this and I'll give you an update in a few weeks, and we'll see how this system actually works. Until then, garden friends, happy gardening to you, and please get after it, get out in that garden and go have some fun.